Strategic mission. This is step 6 of the 9 steps to successful selling. Of course, if you're looking back through the series, we started out with the right stuff, finding the right people to work with, and then we progressed to the blast off, getting the appointment, controlling the mission, how you handle the objections, mapping their world, doing a complete business profile, everything there is to learn about that business. After that, which is the tape just before this, we talked about the rocket fuel. How do you get results for a client? What are the 2 formulas that work for the client most of the time? That leads us to one of the more important elements of any selling system, and that is the proposal. In other words, the strategic mission. What is it you want that advertiser to do, and how do you want them to do it to be more successful than they are now? The written word is very important, and even sometimes when it's in writing, it doesn't always say what you want it to say. A good example is a list of, or a collection, if you will, of church bulletins that I've saved over the years. Let me share a couple of these with you, and these are factual, legit lines that were in church bulletins over the year, and what they said didn't exactly come out the way, or I think the way you might interpret these might be differently than what was intended when they put these in the bulletin. Let me share a few and you'll see what I'm talking about. For instance, at the evening service tonight, the sermon topic will be "What is Hell?" Come early and listen to our choir practice. Not quite probably what they had in mind or what they're saying. Here's another one. Weight Watchers will meet at 7 p.m. at the First Presbyterian Church. Please use the large double doors at the side entrance. Potluck supper Thursday night, prayer and medication to follow. This afternoon, there will be a meeting in the north and south ends of the church. Children will be baptized at both ends. Today, Tuesday, 4 o'clock, there will be an ice cream social. All ladies giving milk, please come early. The rosebud on the altar this morning is to announce the birth of David Allen Belzer, the son of Reverend and Mrs. Julius Belzer. Not quite what they probably had in mind. This being Easter Sunday, we'll ask Mrs. Lewis to come forward and lay an egg on the altar. Now, that would be something to see, huh? The ladies of the church, having cast off their clothing of every kind, they can be seen in the church basement Saturday. And here's one of my favorites. The associate minister unveiled the church's new tithing campaign slogan last Sunday. It's entitled, "I up my pledge, up yours." So even though these were in writing, the probably intended message didn't quite come out the way they intended. The written word is very powerful. At the same time, it can backfire as well. But what I have found out through the years is that people in radio really shy away from the discipline of sitting down and writing. And a well-written proposal is the difference, frankly, between a professional and another radio schlep with another package. Consider these facts when it comes to a written proposal. First of all, a written proposal positions you as a professional. Professionals use written proposals. I guarantee you work with anyone in a Fortune 500 situation, they always use written proposals. They don't just wing it. They don't just verbally give a few facts and figures and say, what do you want to do? It's always, and even if it's just a one-page, it's always in writing. The mark of a true professional is they put their proposal in writing. Even if it's a paragraph, it's in writing. Now, here's some other facts that are very interesting that you need to consider. According to Sales and Marketing Magazine, and understand what's going on here. This is not like a radio station. I can't keep broadcasting my message. I don't have the advantage of repetition and frequency when it comes to a proposal. Generally, I got one shot. So look at the facts when it comes to presentations. Because if I just present something verbally versus present something in verbal and in written form, there's a huge difference in retention. What Sales and Marketing Magazine said was simply this, that if I only have one shot and I do it once in front of a client and present my idea, my proposal, if you will, if I only do it verbally, psychologists tell us that 90%, fully 90 to 91% of anything I hear, and if I only hear it once, 91% of us, or 91% of all the information that I was presented will be lost within 48 hours. So if I just give my presentation verbally to you, 91% of what I just told you will be forgotten within 48 hours. So all that great song and dance, it's all lost and gone when I do the verbal-only presentation. Now again, I only have one shot. But if in my presentation I use a written format along with my verbal presentation, now my retention is improved to over 60% of that will be remembered 2 days later. Fully 48 hours later, I'll remember over 60% of the information that's presented. Powerful. Why? Knowing that fact alone, why wouldn't I always put it in writing? Why would I leave the chance they're going to be one of the 9% that might remember 2 days later? They probably won't. So if you only have one shot, why wouldn't you put it in writing as well as present this verbally too? All right? Written and verbal together are much more powerful when you have a one-shot deal and you're looking for retention, people to remember this information. All right? Now, last thing to remember is the powerful impression a written proposal makes. Because it not only positions you as a professional, it not only helps with the retention, it helps with the closing ratio dramatically. I'll never forget, I had one of my top producers, her name was Jan Smith, and I introduced the concept of a well-written proposal. And she goes, honey, I ain't going to do that. That's a waste of time. I said, Jan, at least try it, all right? Remember my 15-time rule we talked about earlier in this series? Anything we talk about, do it 15 times, and then tell me it works or doesn't work. Because the first few times, it's never going to work. It's always burning the cookies, scraping the knees. So Jan went out, did one proposal, came back, didn't sell it. Go, see, honey, don't work. Ain't going to do it no more. I said, Jan, do it 14 more times, and then we got something to talk about. Well, Jan, much against her will, did 14 more written proposals. But what she found out over this period of time was how powerful they were and how it increased her closing ratio. In fact, Jan had a 71% closing ratio when it came to written proposals. Not only did she do 15, she became a born-again proposal writer, and for the rest of her career never did anything without a written proposal, and had an astonishing 71% closing ratio. Now, before, when she was doing verbal only, her closing ratio was well under 25%. Huge difference. Why? Because it's in written as well as verbal. So the power is undeniable. The question is, what are you going to do? Now, if you do written proposals and you want to be professional, there's a number of things you need to remember. First of all is the general layout or format of any good customer-focused proposal. And that is this. It's really 3 different stages. The correct staging on a proposal that's focused on the customer goes like this. And let's call it sections, if you will. The first section always says, here is what we talked about last time. Here are your needs as you stated them as we saw them. That's number 1. The second section is, here's the solution, by the way, to those needs. Here's some ideas and plans, strategies, tactics to help address these needs, this pain we uncovered before. And then the third section is, by the way, we've got a pretty good station, too. Okay, do you understand? Again, number 1, here's what we said last time. Here are your needs. Is that correct? Great. By the way, here's the solution to those needs. And lastly, we got a good station, too. So their needs, solution to their needs, and by the way, the station ain't all bad either. Unfortunately, most people are talking first and foremost about what? Me, my station, my ratings, my rates, something about them. Their latest package. Something. Rarely does it have the client's needs first and the solution to those client needs, and then the station should be, frankly, last in the posturing or the order. Why? Because think about what's important to the client. How many clients got up this morning and said, oh man, what I need today is some radio. I can't wait to buy some 30s and 60s. Now, they also didn't get up this morning and say, what I need is a double truck 4-color. What they did say when they got up this morning was what? I need increased sales. I need a better profitability. I need better margins. That's what they worry about. So why not talk about what's most important and near and dear to them, which is their business, their name, their problems, and by the way, solutions to those problems. That's how I'm going to get their attention, and that's why this closing ratio is so phenomenal, because it's focused on them and their needs. Very little of it is about me and my radio station. Now, let's look at some general rules. Knowing that's the correct positioning of the 1, 2, 3 approach, their needs, solution to their needs, and thirdly, your station, let's look at specific rules that apply to every proposal you write, no matter what the format. And you can use PowerPoint, you can use Word, you can use a lot of different things. But in every proposal you write, generally it should follow these rules as we go through them. Number 1, the first rule of any good proposal is to have a personalized cover. Today, with internet technologies, it's so easy to go to the client's website, lift off their logo, and put that prominently on the cover of the proposal. Again, what am I more interested in? Your call letters, your station, or my name, the name of my business? If you want to get their attention, put their logo prominent on the cover. And by the way, minimize or don't even have your logo on your cover. The time to talk about you is later on. If I want to grab their attention and let them know I'm focused on them and their needs, put their logo and personalize that cover. The second thing is to have a power headline on that cover. All right? Get away from this garbage I see like you and me together in 2002, baby. You know, who cares? How about how to increase sales in 2002? How about how to get a bigger piece of the auto market in Detroit, Michigan? That's what I'm interested in, not you and me together, baby, in 2003. A power headline is a specific benefit, generally and hopefully related to the need that you uncovered during the business profile, during the Mapping Their World segment.